And David, 20,000 documents, that's a huge amount of information to go through. But so far, what do we know about what's in them?
Yes, we are still working our way through those documents. They were released by the Epstein estate to the Oversight Committee. That is the congressional committee that has been investigating the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein. But there are some highlights, I think it would be fair to say, among the emails. There is a 2011 exchange, for example, from Jeffrey Epstein to his then girlfriend and co-accused Ghislaine Maxwell, in which he writes, "I want you to realise that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned, police chief, etc. I'm 75% there." As you've just heard, the White House is alleging that the unnamed victim in that email was the late Virginia Giuffre, who never accused President Trump of any wrongdoing. There's then a 2019 exchange from Epstein with the author Michael Wolff, in which he writes, "Trump said he asked me to resign, never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop." Now, presumably, he's talking about being asked to resign as a member of Trump's club, because the president claims he threw Epstein out for being what he describes as a creep. But there is no context to these words, and I think it's important to stress that Trump has also alleged that he fell out with Epstein for stealing members of his staff. And then in 2015, there is another exchange, this time from Michael Wolff to Epstein in relation to how Trump should handle an upcoming interview. And in it, he writes, "If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt." So a reference to the potential leverage that Epstein would hold over Donald Trump if he won the election. Now, the White House, of course, is dismissing all of this just as a fake narrative.
Yeah, David, it's interesting, isn't it? Donald Trump has consistently and always denied doing anything wrong, distanced himself from Jeffrey Epstein. He's saying, and his press secretary is saying this raises glaring questions, calling it a hoax by the Democrats. How long can this hold? Because you could argue that there are glaring questions for Donald Trump to answer.
Well, it is the question, really, that we've been asking since Donald Trump returned to the White House, because this is the issue that really will not go away. And to some extent, it's because he fueled the conspiracy himself during the election campaign when he vowed that he would release the Epstein files. And then when he found himself back in the White House, his Attorney General said there was nothing to see in those files. The White House is doubling down on its suggestion that all of this is just a false narrative being generated by the Democrats to smear the president. Caroline Levitt says the only thing these emails show is that the president did nothing wrong. But the leading Democrat on the congressional committee looking into Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Garcia, says these emails raise huge questions for the White House about the nature of the relationship between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. The president himself has also posted online a short time ago that this is just the Democrats generating what he calls the Epstein hoax, because they want to distract from a critical vote taking place on Capitol Hill tonight, which could bring to an end the record 43-day government shutdown. I think it's worth stressing, though, that if it does end the government shutdown, there's another potential pothole for the Trump administration, because a Democratic representative who's not been able to be sworn in will finally be sworn in, and she could tip the balance in terms of a discharge petition, a vote on Capitol Hill, which could ultimately lead to another vote on the release of those Epstein files.